Hey guys, welcome to something a bit of an experiment, a new way, maybe presenting our ideas for our strats. And this is some new technology, new way of doing things. So just hang with me on this, and we'll talk about it at the end and see what we think about it. But basically, guys, is what I want to go over is the Copperfield strat. It's something we're pretty good at, but I wanted to start with it so new guys coming in and have kind of a template to follow. Now, what I'm using here is a Strat Sketch, which is a program online. And rather than having everybody subscribe and have to get onto it, is kind of do it this way: is I'll make it and make a video of it. First slide that we're going to take a look at here is kind of the initial placement of the tanks going from out of the spawns. Now this roughly coincides with the other video I did about using the ARL and the gun depression and things. So some of this coincides with that. As you can see here, the three stripes signifies a heavy tank. And these are the four positions, the four lanes I talked about in the ARL video. And then the little triangle, that's a TD. And he's kind of in that area. He's going to slide up and down, but that's just a general graphic representation of where he's going to be at. And this is for the mediums or lights. If it would just be one symbol if it was a light. The two stripes is a medium tank. These are the kind of my preferred spots to go to, at least at the initial placement coming out of spawn. And the reason for that is firing lanes and spotting lanes. Now, as you can see here, the little red dots represent a firing lane and a spotting lane for that matter. As you can see, the meds have some spotting into these areas. The heavies are kind of paying a lot of attention to the hill because this is kind of the main area where most of the action generally occurs. And there again, here's our TD, who could be in this position where he can slide up and down. He's got alternate spots he can get depending on the situation and what he sees developing. Okay, and then you can see also is that the heavy that's in this position also has not just a responsibility for straight ahead, but as soon as things get spotted, has got the responsibility of firing into C cap if needed, if the opportunity arises. And so does the TD, because he can maneuver up on this little hill elevated area and get some shots into that general area. Okay, and that's kind of the first phase where we always should go, in my opinion at least, to kind of start the battle out. Okay, now from there, what do the Reds do? Well, we can't control that. We can only react to that. So after spotting and the Reds go A on this slide is kind of what talking about here is the TD remains here in the rear and he's got opportunities to move and get shots. Our heavies have these firing lanes that they have always had, but the meds move up. This med in this position behind this little hill comes up and gets into C, perhaps capping C if possible, but has a firing lanes of this as a responsibility, and the other medium or light comes up to behind this area and pops out and has opportunity to get shots here and here. Now, as you can see, you can kind of just point all the the little red dots is we're getting mutually supported guns. Okay, this is the one map where it's small enough you can separate and support each other, and you can see that with the firing lanes here all converging, and then of course the TD will be chipping in there. So that's the whole thought and reasoning behind some of my strat, at least on this map, is to keep each other at least within gun distance and line of sight where you can support, and hopefully the Reds all come in here and we wipe them out. Now, if the Reds go C, what happens? Well, is at that point, the TD is sliding up and down in this area and has responsibility to get in a firing lane there. The heavies kind of move. The one in this lane can move behind this hill and get fire into the C cap and still have cover. Same thing here with this heavy. He can get into this area with a bit of cover and get shots off into the C area. This heavy moves into right behind. I think there's some rocks and a bit of an elevated hill there. Same thing. And then the one that was up on behind the wall to start with comes all the way across and does the same thing, basically getting some fire in on this flank. Because there again, all you can see is this whole area is covered by fire. All of our guns are in play. Now, it's kind of also predicated, hopefully the meds can kind of hold their ground and keep fire going. It may not be possible. They have to uh, be ready to bug out, plan B here, and come back into this area where there's some hills and covers, and do some things. It's kind of by feel. I mean, if they're coming in to see soft, you might be able to hold your ground here or in this area. If they're coming hard with everything, you might want to give ground if it's possible. A lot of times, if you just turn and run, well, they're just going to shoot and kill you, and you'll never get a shot off. So that's where the medium player experience, that's kind of a feel and just knowledge of what's happened in the past is what they do. Now, what happens if they do kind of a mirror image of us? Well, it basically goes back to this: is they send two meds over here and they got heavies and a TD. Is you just keep this position, okay? You keep your cover, use your elevation or gun depression with the heavies to get shots off in this area with the TD working the best shots they can, and the meds doing the same thing, is popping in and out and denying everybody see. But you can kind of tell as the guns are still supporting one another. The hope would be as they come rolling across this hill, and we got 3 or 4 guns to get shots in. Same thing over here as they come rolling up this hill. They might have 2 meds, a TD, and a heavy get shots in on them. And that's where we're kind of overpowering them and getting our work done. So anyway, guys, that's the basic strategy for Copperfield. Let me know what you think about this format, ways it can be done different, ways it can be done better. But anyway, this was my first stab at it, and hopefully it goes well.